Hello, this is Manesh Patel from Ichimoku Today is December 23, 2013. This is our last video for the year of 2013, and the next video will be 2 weeks from now, going into pretty much January, since we got this week for Christmas and next week for New Year's. In this video, we discuss pretty much crude oil, commodity futures, sugar, bonds, everything on the future side as far as related to the U.S. It's a normal disclaimer. This states that this is for education use only. We're not soliciting you to buy any particular instrument. If you do so, you're doing that at your own risk. All the charts we're going to be presenting today are from TradeStation. Here are our contact details here. You can reach us at this email address here at info@eiicapital.com, or you could call us at any of our global office locations here, or you could go to ichimokutrade.com, see in numerous videos we have on Ichimoku and other things. We also have 2-month workshops out there. You could access our Facebook, Twitter feeds, blogs, and so forth. I definitely want to encourage people to go to and look at our blog, which pretty much we have our trades of the week based on our multiple time frame email alerts. Also to sign up for either Facebook or Twitter, where you could see all the information where we're posting various support resistances for crude oil, gold, and various other future products, including the E-mini S&P 500 futures. Okay. So let's go straight to TradeStation. Remember, on the left-hand side, you have your daily chart. On the right-hand side, you basically have your weekly chart. The first symbol, the instrument that we're looking at here, if you look at soybean oil, for pretty much 2013, this basically went all the way to about 52, 53, basically at the beginning of the year, and then after that basically has gone down to drastically, come all the way down here, and basically still has not stopped going down, having supports are going lower and lower and lower. So both the daily and weekly are trending right now, and who knows how far this is going to keep on going, but this has still got a lot of bearish momentum in there to keep on going, and possibly can go into 2014, even to the mid or the first Q1 or Q2 of next year. The next instrument is basically corn. If you look on corn on the weekly, this is basically trending downwards here nicely. Did the same thing the mid-year, pretty much went up to about 576 resistance level, stopped there, and basically went down drastically at that point. In the last couple of weeks, it's basically consolidated, which you could see here. From the daily time frame, and you could see here it's just basically being consolidated a little nicely here, with resistance is slowly trickling downwards too, and the support kind of balancing out at 917. So the support now, that's kind of a little minor support that's being established, is 417. Resistance in this guy is going to be about 442. Definitely this is still very, very bearish. I'll be very careful in trying to go counter trend, going bullish, because there's no real signs of this as of right now. Major resistance on this guy is about 486 and 5/8. Next instrument you have is cocoa. If you look at cocoa, is basically bullish trending here on the weekly, and you can see it's kind of consolidating here at the top right now. So it's kind of got marked a little resistance at 2850 right now, and let's enlarge this too. So you can kind of see it here, 2850. It does have a high probability of, if it could break that 2850, to get into 3000, which would be a major resistance for it to break. The support on this guy is going to be about 2710, and also 20. First support's going to be 2748. Next one's going to be about 2710 for this to basically continue to keep on moving forward. Crude oil, as you can see, this was a bearish trend here in the daily, but let's look at the weekly. This is a major trend up, and then it came down. This thing, if you look at it overall, is basically consolidating. That the resistance is basically roughly around 110, and support before was around, if you look at it before, it was about 83. The next higher support now, which is kind of being established, is being roughly around here, which is right here. And then the new support now, it's pretty much here. So the supports have been going higher in this big consolidation pattern, where we went from 82 to 87 to 93 now. And this is a new, and this really it's about 82, 92, 23, and this is pretty much what we posted in Twitter. So from here we kind of went short. We posted on Twitter to here to pretty much at that point. We said there was a buy opportunity here, and now what we're doing is we're kind of looking for a pullback where the major support on this guy is going to be 95.91. In order for this to sit there, go back to 102.42 and possibly retest the highs at 110 or so, this thing has to hold a support at 95.91. If it breaks that support and goes lower, then it's going to definitely go to 92.23 and has a possibility of getting to 87.47. However, the momentum has kind of shifted more towards a bullish side. So 95.91 is kind of like a pullback look scenario that has to sit there and hold. If it holds there, then it will definitely come to 102.42, and at that point it needs to break that to go higher to about 110. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens going into February. January and February. February typically, crude oil typically goes up in that month. Cotton, if you look at cotton here, it looks like a consolidation pattern, but let's enlarge this and look at this. This is a major trend here, and after that, this thing has just consolidated here. Believe it or not, this is still part of a major pullback for this master move here. So cotton right here, if you really look at it, it's consolidating tighter and tighter and tighter. The resistance is basically at 94.32, and the support now is being pretty much established to be right here at 76.33. So this is a consolidation pattern that this thing's basically ranging. It bounced off there. We're at a major kind of resistance right now, which is kind of the midpoint of the whole consolidation pattern, which is right here, 83.35. If we close above that by the end of the week, then we have high probability getting to 94.32. If not, we may come back to 76.33 and go down. Normal consolidation patterns will break here to go up to 94.32, but we got to basically see what's going to happen in here. And if you look at the daily, this basically is a trend down. This is a major pullback that's going on right now. And if this thing breaks 84 right now on the daily chart, this thing will go higher, possibly all the way up to about at least 90, 94 moving forward. So 84 is the major resistance right now that it has to sit there and break in order to sit there, go and retest this high up here. If it holds 84, then we do have a high probability of retesting at 77, and at that point, who knows what's going to happen. Dollar index here, dollar futures, if we enlarge this, this is basically one ugly consolidation pattern here. And if you look at this and mark it off, the top of the consolidation pattern here is a 85.059. The bottom is basically 79.52. We're pretty much at the bottom of the consolidation pattern. The minor support that's kind of holding this thing up right now is 80.555. If it holds there, it then can sit there and make a move to 82.288, which is the middle of the consolidation pattern, then try to break that to get to 85 to the top. But basically, this is consolidating, so no real excitement that's going on there at all. Feeder cattle, nothing going on here. If we enlarge this chart here, this is a nice little trend down here, kind of pulled back right now. It's at a critical level right now. If it holds the 170 and starts to basically move down to break the supports, then we're going to retest the low, and this was just a major pullback. If we break the 170 resistance level, then we basically is going to trend reverse and enter a consolidation pattern to the top of the consolidation pattern. So 170 is a major resistance for this guy, and about 161.50 is a major support for feeder cattle. 5-year treasury notes here, if you look at this, and let's enlarge this because this is critical to see. This is a major trend going up. This is a pullback that basically has happened here. Now, in this pullback, unfortunately, this thing did not sit there and retest the high here, which is kind of concerning right now. We're at a major support right now at 119.17. It's got to sit there and hold. and this thing has got to sit there and get a back above 120,11. If it doesn't hold here, we're going to basically retest this 118, and at that point this is going to basically have a high probability of reversing to come all the way back down to 115 going into 2014. If this holds and comes back above one, let's say 121, just to make it a nice even number, then we got a high probability of retesting the high, and at that point we'll either enter a consolidation pattern between 118 and 122, or we could sit there and go higher. But this has a high probability of entering consolidation pattern if it does not break down. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens here with the 5-year Treasury notes. Heating oil is basically consolidating between 2.8519 and 3.1403. Nothing exciting going on there at all, just ranging between those two values. This is interesting coffee because this has been a nice little trend going down, 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 down. First starting to show signs of maybe bottoming out at a support of 105. Resistance is going to be 121.88. I would not look at going bullish on coffee at all until we see it break 121.88. So it'd be interesting to see exactly what happens at that level. But coffee has been going down nicely to a point like Starbucks and all those other vendors are enjoying the low cost of their raw materials. Let's see what we have here. Live cattle here, downward trending here. We have a little pullback right now. It's at a major resistance at basically about 134.50. It's got to hold here. If it holds there and it breaks a support at 132.400, then we got a high probability of retesting low at 128. If it doesn't hold here, we're going to basically enter a nasty consolidation pattern where the top of the consolidation pattern is going to be about 141. The bottom is going to be basically 128. Lean hogs, this had a nice little trend going up. It pulled back. It should have sat there and hold 89.22 if this was going to continue to trend upwards. It didn't at all. Now it's trying to go for a major pullback instead of a medium. The next support is basically right here, 84.839. You kind of want it to come here, and then it sits there and goes back and retests to 89.22. On the retest at 89.22, that's a very critical level. If it could break that, then it's going to retest the high at 96. If it holds that, then it's going to basically come back down here to 84 to 89 and basically enter a consolidation pattern where this thing's going to enter a big consolidation pattern between 74 and 96 going into 2014. So it'll be interesting to see exactly where this ends up. Natural gas here, let's expand this because this is definitely an interesting one to look at. If you look here kind of after Q1 of 2012, this basically was a bearish trend here, bottomed out here, has been consolidating now completely for a long time. Now we're at the top of the consolidation pattern here. There are a couple of more little resistances that it has to break, but this is the overall top of the consolidation pattern, 4.526. The bottom is basically 3.455. The middle is 4.079. Now we've gone up drastically from the bottom to the top, so this is kind of in need of a pullback, and you could kind of see that from this daily chart here. Now if we get a pullback, a nice little pullback to possibly about 4.0460, and it holds and then sits there and tries to retest this high again, I have a feeling this is going to break out of this consolidation pattern and go up. So I'll definitely be sitting there looking at natural gas, maybe for 2014, breaking out to start a big nice trend into 2014. We just got to be patient and wait for the charts to develop for natural gas. But definitely natural gas has a potential of breaking out of that consolidation pattern and starting a major trend. Remember, you'll kind of want to see instruments, the instruments that have trended this year have a low probability of giving you a nice percentage increase next year. The instruments that basically consolidate for 2013 have the highest potential of giving you the biggest percentage moves if they could break that consolidation pattern for 2014. So this looks like a really good upside here for natural gas going into 2013, so definitely look at that one moving forward. Oats here, let's enlarge this. Oats is basically consolidating here. 354.68 is the top of the consolidation pattern. And we're just going to mark 253 here, and 3/8 is basically the bottom of the consolidation pattern. Nothing exciting going on here. You could see that this was a nice bullish trend here, and the reason why this made a move here, went to the cloud, stopped there, pulled back, and then went up, which basically was a nice little trend here since it copped out the cloud here on the daily time frame, pulled back to the support at 288, held that, and then basically took off. So this is a great trade off the daily time frame, but that's basically trading the bottom of the consolidation pattern all the way to the top. Okay, orange juice here, nothing really going exciting in here. So nothing really much to talk about. 140.57 is a resistance level. A 131.88 is a major support. Platinum here, if you look at this chart here, this is slowly trickling down. If you kind of sit there and look at this chart here, and where's my little tools to shrink this guy? If you look here, this is a nice little bullish trend here, and this is supposed to be a pullback. But look at this pullback. This pullback slowly trickling down. So this, I don't think it's going to be a pullback. I have a feeling this is kind of like a little hill here that's slowly curving down with time. If things went up drastically, but they're slowly trickling down with time, and it could sit there and accelerate into 2014. But your major support is 13,000. If that 13,000 level gets broken, watch out, because this thing can sit there and come all the way back into 12,000, sorry, not 13,000, 1,300. It could get to 1,200 very easily and possibly break that and go lower. So I'll definitely be looking at this one for the 1,300 level. Minor resistance is going to be 1396, and the major one's going to be 1436. So definitely be looking at platinum into 2014. Gasoline here doing nothing except ranging between 2.4317 and 2.9444. If we enlarge this, you could see there was a nice little trend up here, consolidated. What I don't like is this trend really didn't go up that much and decided to consolidate, and right now it's consolidating to a point, it's getting to a thin part of the cloud, and this thing could easily sit there and turn sentiments into be bearish, which is not good at all, because this thing, if you look at it, as last time it was below the cloud was basically below in 2009. After that, it's been above the cloud, and basically sentiment's always been bullish or consolidating, but now has the ability here, right in this little zone here in 2014, to go bearish. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. If this thing does not get to the top of the consolidation pattern very fast at 2.944, it does have the possibility of the sentiment changing into being bearish, and at that point have a high probability of breaking 2.43. So definitely be watching out for this coming up. Rough rice, really doing nothing except consolidating. It's at a resistance of 15.908. Support on this one's going to be 15.20. Soy, really doing nothing at all. Nice little trend up here, and then basically did a major pullback. The pullback was nice little support roughly around, I would say, about right here at 1069.18. That was basically a major support, which is the major pullback area. It held that major pullback area, came here, didn't quite retest the high here, pulled back, held the green line here, and basically trying to make a move to get to 1408. If it breaks 1408, definitely will get to this high up here and have momentum to break that. So this thing's looking very, very strong moving forward. Major support in this guy is going to be about 1282. Resistance is going to be basically 1408. Sugar, this is the interesting one. Sugar has basically been going down. Let's shrink this chart up, and you could see it's been an ugly, ugly pattern here. Well, overall, this is bullish here. This is a major pullback here. Now, the problem with this major pullback is that the support for this major pullback was 1651. That was broken, retested it, and it looks like it's trying to flirt around here and trying to go lower here. This has all the makings to go lower here to a point now. If it holds here at 1651 as a resistance level, this is no longer a major pullback. This is a trend reversal that's about to occur. So basically, if you look at this, this now has a possibility of starting to enter a bearish trend and continue to move down. So this does have more pretty much downside that's available for sugar. So sugar can sit there and go to a whole new level going down. Now gold, this is one everyone's looking at. This is at a major support, getting close back to the major support, 1183.17. Got there last week, touched it, kind of bounced off there, but we're still flirting around with this sitting there going down here. Believe it or not, the more longer we stay at 1183, the higher probability we have of breaking that and going a lot lower going into 2014. So gold can sit there and go a lot lower going into 2014. And if you look at the overall trend, it's still minor, believe it or not, because if you look at gold when it broke out at 953 basically on the weekly charts and took off and went up. So we have a possibility of a high probability if we break that 1183, get into 1,000, and actually getting into about 950, believe it or not, going into 2014. So this is a very, very critical level for gold here to sit there and hold. Let's go here. This is 2-year treasury notes. If you look here, this was basically, whoa, can't really tell much from that, can you? Let's shrink this down. This is a nice little trend up, and then basically what happened here, this thing entered a consolidation pattern here. A very ugly consolidation pattern, but this basically marks the 3 zones, the middle, top, and so forth for the consolidation. Now, a thing broke out here, went to resistance at 110.04, and is now pulled back to a major support, 109.28. It's got to sit there and hold the support in order for this instrument to trend higher. Resistance on this guy is going to be 110.01. But if it holds here and basically makes a move to retest that high, this can sit there and start a bullish trend. If it breaks down here, this thing is going to go back to the bottom of the consolidation pattern, and at that point it's got high probability of breaking that to go lower. So this is a very, very critical level to kind of see exactly what this instrument's kind of going to do going into 2014. Okay, 10-year, if you look at the 10-year, really doing nothing at all. It's at a minor support level right now, and then the major support level is 121.30. We've broken that minor support level right now, but the week's not done, so we kind of got to see exactly where we're going to end up by the end of this week. And if we could sit there and close above 123.28, then we've held that support level. If not, then basically we got a high probability of coming down to 121.30. 30-year treasury bonds were basically nice trend here, did a minor pullback. We're back at the lows here, 128, 23.32, and if we break that support, we got a probability of going sitting there, starting a trend, the trend continuation to go a lot lower. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now wheat is being the most interesting one here, because here this trended down, 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 then it pulled back here, kind of held here at the support of 647.78. A lot of people at that point thought maybe wheat now is established a low and it's going to go a lot higher. So a lot of people started thinking that this is going to sit there and go higher. Look what happened. It broke the support here, and since a lot of people were going long, look what happened. It trickled way, way down to 611.48. So this has now gone to a whole new level here. We're sitting there going a lot lower. So this is going to be interesting to see where this basically ends up and where the support's going to establish again. But right now, the minor resistance is 625. Major ones are 641. And silver, just like gold, we're getting close to the bottom. Notice gold touched its support, but silver hasn't. This support here, 18.501, is a major support that's been established for silver for years out there. So that's a major level it's trying to hold here, 18.501. Some people, and you may want to think about this if you're doing pairs trading, maybe going long silver and shorting gold, because gold is showing more weakness than silver. But it's kind of interesting to see percentage wise. I think gold would move up down lower than silver. So you could sit there and play the percentages of going long silver and then going short gold. And lastly, copper, really not doing anything at all. Basically consolidating between 3.1149 and 3.4000. So that's basically the major consolidation pattern that this thing's undergone, and really nothing exciting at all as far as copper is concerned. Okay, so that's it for this week. And last future video for this year in 2013. The next video will be 2 weeks from now, which will pretty much be the first week. You'll let the first week go by in January, so we'll kind of see how markets come into play at the end of the first week in January, and at that point we'll have a video out there to kind of see where the sector rotations have happened from all the markets in the world, from futures to stocks and so forth. Have a Merry Christmas to everyone and a Happy New Year, and see you guys in 2014.